Merry Christmas. 61 years ago today, a young girl spoke of the speed of technological change as she gave the first televised broadcast of its kind anywhere in the world. She described this moment as a landmark.
Television has made it possible for you to see me at Xmas. My own family often spends it fighting, passed out, or blind drunk on gin. And that is how I imagine you now.
6 decades on, much has changed. Many of you will now be watching this on your iTelephones or flat pads. But what hasn't changed is that most of you will be watching this at home, whether, like me here at St. James's Palace, or perhaps in cheap socialising because you haven't worked hard enough.
How ghastly.
We think of our homes as places of warmth, of family, and of love, which is why so many of us return annually at Christmas time. This year, many of you may be returning home to Europe because of Brexit. Brexit has proven to be far more complicated than anyone might have imagined. I didn't vote in the referendum because our polling station is in a council building. But as I said to Theresa May, you can take the Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg-Glucksburgs out of Europe, but you'll never take Europe out of our royals. I shall always have a little Alsatian in me. At Christmas, home means more than just a palace. It means being with those who mean the most to us. This year, our wonderful royal family, of which I am so fortunate to be a part, has grown even more diverse, and I was thrilled to attend not one, but 2 family weddings. The first, the very modern marriage of Harry and Meghan. Now, the British public has taken Meghan quite to their hearts, possibly because she's available on Netflix, or perhaps more likely because her name is spelt incorrectly. Marrying divorced Americans hasn't always ended well for our royal family, but apparently this one hasn't got a Nazi bone in her body, and you couldn't say that about Wallis Simpson. The second was a much less complicated affair. It was lovely to see Princess Eugenia, or Beatrice, I can't remember which, finally find happiness after the hoo-ha with the hats at William and Catherine's wedding. The reception was an absolute hoot. They had a fun fair, which I thought was a marvellous idea. Oh, I had a lovely once round in the teacups with the Archbishop of Canterbury and Robbie Williams, who I believe is a singer. Rather embarrassingly, the Archbishop tried to get up before the ride had quite finished, and as he stumbled on his cassock, he reached out to stop himself falling, and unfortunately, as we span around, my pin snares snagged on his episcopal ring, leaving the Archbishop with a rather chafed finger, and me with a rather battered rim. This year is also the 70th birthday of our wonderful future king. Charles was delighted when I presented him with one of my legendary plum duffs during the conga. Quite a feat, I can tell you. Now, I add a Scotch twist to mine by replacing brandy with a fine malt whiskey. I like at least 2 fingers. In fact, I'm known in high society as the Mary Berry of Monmouth. I'm often to be found on a winter's afternoon bent over the Aga, enjoying a jolly good stuffing. So whatever you're eating this festive season, and whether, like me, you're spending it with wonderful friends and family, or perhaps you're destitute, desperately trying to drink the alcoholic hand gel at your local hospital, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. May God bless you all.